Golly, you guys sure love that video, huh? Well, I guess like any YouTuber, I guess we gotta get the cringy thank you out of the way. Thank you guys oh so much for 1,000 subscribers. I know every YouTuber says this, but truly, honestly, thank you so much. I have no other words to say for it. I wasn't really expecting to ever reach that number in my lifetime, but you guys made it possible, so thank you guys so much. How many freaking times can you fit thank you in one video, Ben? All of them. Yes. But this is not going to be just a video of me saying thank you all the time. I think it's only appropriate since it was in fact the Ragnaloard video that got us to 1,000 subs. I think it only makes sense to say thank you by giving you guys that combo tutorial video that you guys are asking for. Well, would you believe me if I told you that when I first told Ride My Avatar about the deck profile, he first told me, yo, we should record this. Just in case. I mean, okay, sure, if you want. I don't think the deck is going to be that strong. I'm just bringing it for fun and see what happens. And would you believe me if I told you that I won the whole thing? So, I think this video is a prime example of how we are going to be able to showcase just how to use the Ragnaloard deck. And I'm also going to go through my entire mental process on how I'm going to be able to optimize turns, which honestly is pretty much translatable to any of the decks in the Digimon TCG, or any card game for that matter. So if you're just looking to become a better player, this is the video for you. Alright, without further ado, let's get to the game. And here is how it's gonna go. As you can see, I'm gonna be making myself a little bit of a cutout right here. And from here, I'll be able to give you guys a play-by-play as to how I pilot the Ragnaloard deck. Yes, you do.
Hatch the Oopies.
Hello, Oopie.
I'm gonna give you 5 for Blazing Mem Boost.
And this is exactly what I mean by when your opponent gives a whole lot of memory on the very early turns of the game. Unfortunately, Kyle did not start himself with a rookie in his opening hand, but that is actually quite normal for decks like these. And he did start off with a Blazing Memory Boost, which is honestly the most optimal starting play.
Checker.
And that's it?
Yep.
I will draw. Okay. Let's hatch Suctomon. Suctomon evolves into a Zubamon. Draw a card. And then we're going to evolve that Zubamon into a Zuba Eagermon for 2, putting me down to 3. Draw a card. And then we're going to pay 3 to evolve into the Duramon, down to 0. Draw a card. And then we're gonna hard play ourselves a Ludamon for 3. When it comes now, in my opening hand, I did actually open up with a rookie, a champion, and an ultimate all in my opening hand. Very, very solid to open up with, and because you know my ratios, it's honestly a pretty likely case for it to happen. I use this 5 memory, as you can see, evolving all the way up into an ultimate, and because he gave me 5, I was still able to make one more play. I did manage to draw the Durandamon as I was drawing my cards through evolution, but I opted to actually hard play the Ludamon instead in order to help me look for the other Mega that I needed in my opening hand. The reason why I did that is because with the Duramon, we are able to evolve into any of our Legend Arms for 1 cost less, and because of that, we can use that to our advantage if our opponent decides to give 2 or more memory in the following turn.
Draw for turn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what? We'll play Christopher, give you 1.
Now you see, this is a prime example of when I did see a comment mentioning, if I'm not running any options or tamers, wouldn't that mean it's very likely for my opponent to memory starve you? You'd be correct. But what exactly did Kyle accomplish here? He hard himself a Kiriha Aonuma, which allows him to set himself up, but he doesn't have anything in raising, and he's not exactly setting himself up for a Metal Greymon play in general. It just sets up the memory tempo for later in the turns, essentially giving me a free turn to do whatever I desire. I only get to play 1 card, but it's essentially a free turn. So I obviously take this opportunity to just swing with our Ludamon. As you know, the Blue Flare strategy does focus on a lot of the freeze mechanic. So this Ludamon is losing a lot of its value incredibly quickly. So I decided to swing at my opponent's security, hoping that it would die, and if it does die, he would have already gotten his value, and we will have 1 less Digimon on the board, because we want to make sure in this matchup we don't have 2 or more Digimon in play. This is when it becomes important to actually know the meta and understand what exactly is the game plan that your opponent is playing with. By doing so, you are then able to plan out your turns accordingly and then figure out the most optimal route. Now, of course, we did not manage to get Ludamon to die from that security check, and he did get a memory boost out of it, but in the end, it wouldn't really matter in the long run. Our Ludamon still isn't frozen. He doesn't have anything in raising just yet, so we could potentially use our Ludamon for more free value, and if he doesn't actually freeze it, we could even use it for a potential following swing on the next turn if he does allow it. So the safest play here would just be to evolve into a Durandamon, because it is a lot more likely for him to try and starve us at 1 at this point. So since we only have 1 card to play anyway, the most logical play is to just evolve into a Mega, and then we can start snowballing him on the following turn.
I'm the setup kind of guy. We'll play another sword, Joe.
Put me at 1?
Yup.
What a guy. And what did I tell ya? He was just taking this opportunity to set up even further. He tries to choke me to slow me down, but in reality, I'm all ready to go. Now, we do only have 1 memory to work with, so the most logical thing to do here is to actually swing with the Durandamon first. If we do manage to get ourselves a Digimon, that Suctamon in our inheritables will be able to give us an extra memory, making it so that anything he checks that gains memory, which would be Hammer Spark or Ice Wall, doesn't preemptively end our turn. It's time to freaking gacha. Let's do it.
It's time for Durandamon to swing at security for 11k. On attack, I reveal the top 3 cards of my deck. 1, 2, and 3. Ouch. Big.
Where's that Ragnaloard now?
Oh no. 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 Not like this.
Now you see, unfortunately, this was a case where I was not able to find an ultimate in the top 3, and that just happens sometimes. That is what makes this deck a little bit random, but this is where it comes to game knowledge and understanding how you want to plan your turn. I could have played the Spotamon, allowing myself to put it into my sources to give Durandamon that extra 3k DP and security attack +1, but it doesn't give me an extra body on the board. We gotta make sure and find a way to get our Ragnaloardmon out as soon as humanly possible, and unfortunately, Spotamon does not fit that bill, and that is why Spotamon is honestly one of the worst cards in the deck. But playing this Teoludamon isn't the most worst thing in the world. What you may notice throughout the game is that you'll see me constantly counting my sources. So let's actually do the math, shall we? We start off with a level 2, we have a level 3, we have a level 4, we have a level 5, and we have a level 6. That by itself is already 5 sources for our Ragnaloardmon. If we have a level 4 on the field, and then we add any level 5, and then going into our level 6 that we did grab from the Ludamon, as you saw, that is a grand total of 8 sources, so in total, we'll be able to trash 2 of our opponent's security, so that's why it actually makes even more sense to only swing for only 1 check. Less likely for our opponent to check more scarier things in security, and gives us a way to actually swing with our Ludamon, so that way they won't get value off of that Sora and Joe.
Alright, cool. Ludamon, please die. 1k.
5k.
Thank God.
And we did manage to get the Ludamon to die. If it didn't die, I would have used the extra 2 memory from our Suctamon to try to evolve it, make sure that he doesn't get value that way. But we do have 2 or more Digimon on the field, so it's very likely that a Metal Greymon is about to come any minute now, so it is best to keep our board as minimal as possible. Now, I'm not sure if Kyle was able to realize it in this match, but from this board state, this is actually lethal. Through all the evolutions that I was doing, I was able to cycle through my deck quite a bit, and from that, I was able to find 1 of my 4 Ragnaloardmons in the deck, which is also why I like playing with this deck so much, because you cycle every single time, and with all the cycling that you do, you are bound to find your pieces. So if he doesn't answer this Durandamon very quickly, this game is pretty much over.
None. 0. Nada. Except can't be deleted by card effects, but I don't think you care about that.
Did you evolve into Gossamon? Draw?
Yes, sir.
You know what? We'll go into Metal himself,
There he is.
and you know the drill.
Yep, I do. I'm well aware.
So, the play here is Metal will swing to restan. Your left stack is stunned, and then your right stack's going to be completely stunned. So,
They're all stunned, and
Yep.
that is for 1 check if I'm not mistaken.
yep, 8k.
1k, you're okay.
And then, Kia, motherfucker!
12k, you get the save.
And here's another prime example of the perks for this deck as well. As you were able to see, because we run all Digimon in our entire deck, it was only natural that eventually that Metal Greymon was gonna die to something big in security. As you saw, we run 16 Digimon that can kill a Metal Greymon, so while it may not be extremely likely, but there is a very decent chance that all these Digi-crossing Digimon are very likely to die to our security, giving us more chance to come back in the backswing.
And then we're gonna go Hopsa-Daisy,
Go to 4.
and then I'm gonna draw a bunch of cards. 1,
Oh.
2, 3.
Okay,
You go to 1.
and I'm at 1. I will hatch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many cards in security?
2.
Sick. Evolve into Ludamon, draw a card. And now, it is time. A4. To go into the Bryulujamon. Draw a card. On evolve, reveal the top 3 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3. I get to play another thing for free. I'll bring out the Zubamon. Zubamon will gain me a memory thanks to the Sectamon. Doesn't matter though. We'll put this underneath this for the Zubamon's effect. Reveal the top card. Gotcha again. We get a Tealudamon. We're putting it out. Put it underneath. Do nothing else again. But this is end of turn. It's Jogger's time. Yep. Draw a card. And I do in fact have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Blitz. Delete the Decker draw. There we go. Trash 2, and then swing for a game.
Yep. 1, 2.
And there you go. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a Ragnaloard for game. And let's count the turns together, shall we? That was 1, 2, 3, and 4. In 4 turns alone, we were able to bring out that Ragnaloard, and that was even when getting unlucky in our top 3 checks from the Durandamon. Now, of course, for those of you who are watching, I did notice there was a bit of a misplay here. He should have absolutely used the Sora and Joe on the first swing of that Metal Greymon. He would have then been able to trash 2 sources, but as you saw, we were able to get free sources from the Briolugimon anyway. Because we had 10 sources in total, that means if we lost the 2 sources from Sora and Joe, we would have still been able to trash for 2 of our opponent's security and still swing for game. Now, let's actually go through a bit of a scenario. Let's say that Kyle did, in fact, have the Cocytus Breath in his hand. How would I have played this differently? Well, if he didn't play the Deckerjamon, I would have resulted in having only 3 memory. But as we've established before, 3 memory is already enough to go right back into an ultimate. And you know damn well that I have a full line going all the way back up and ready to go because of all the cycling that I did. I have a rookie, champion, and ultimate already in my hand, as well as a Ragnaloard, as well as a Durandamon that he oh so kindly put back into my hand. And because now that I only have 1 Digimon on the field that definitely would have sources, there is no way that Sora and Joe would give him an extra memory, and I would be guaranteed to get at least 2 memory, which, as we've established, is enough for us to pop off. And you saw as well, I had 3 security remaining. But remember, even if we're at 0 security, it doesn't mean we're dead yet. He doesn't have enough memory to physically kill us. Let's actually do the math. If we actually went all the way up into an ultimate, how many attacks does he have in total if he had the Metal Greymon in hand? And also keep in mind, he hasn't been drawing that much because he hasn't gotten any searching off from Greymon, any draws off of the Upamon, and only 1 search off a Blazing Memory Boost in total, and a lot of hard playing with the Metal Greymon. So let's do the math on how many attacks he can do. He has the Gaussmon, he has Decker Greymon, and let's say he did actually, in fact, have the Metal Greymon in his hand anyways, he would only be able to attack 3 times, which is not enough to kill me. He would have needed to have 2 Hammer Sparks to be able to do so. And if you're gonna tell me that he would have just saved his memory boost and do it that way, then I would actually have more memory on the turn he supposedly Cocytus Breath, and then I could have gone into a Ragnaloard even more sooner. I could have just done a trash for 1 because I had the Briolugimon in hand, you saw it. If he didn't use that memory boost, I would have had 4 memory to play with, which is enough to go into that Briolugimon, get ourselves potentially an ultimate from our top 3, then go into the Durandamon, go into the Ragnaloard, be able to trash our opponent's security for 1, and then swing for 1 as well, and we would potentially be able to give it blocker if we are lucky, and even not, he still would not have enough memory to kill me, because he would have lost a Digimon as well, because Ragnaloard is able to pop something. So if he did have a hybrid for game with the memory boost and the Metal Gray, and also the Gaussmon, that still wouldn't be enough. And that is just what Ragnaloard does. It puts them on a timer, or puts that pressure on the opponent of when he comes out, do you have an answer? Because if you don't, you just lost. A lot of the times in that tournament against other meta decks at the time, such as Crossheart, my opponents would just be going like, damn, I'm kind of bricking right now. I don't have all the pieces I need. But in reality, when you watch their games a lot more closely, it's not a matter of them bricking. They are just expected to have their pieces that much sooner because of how quick the Ragnaloard deck just can be at times. And because we're running all Digimon, it makes it even more likely for us to have a decent hand most of the time. So if you actually see a proper Crossheart game without any interruptions whatsoever, they can maybe get themselves ready by around turn 4, more likely to be turn 5 if I'm being perfectly honest. But that's not even counting the Black War Greymon that we know can pop tamers and slow our opponent down even further. So just picture that. Our opponent is currently trying to set up for some Crossheart looping shenanigans, but I'm slowing them down, and then I bring out a Ragnaloard out by turn 3/4. and then they just can't get rid of it, and you're like, oh shoot, I just lost. And that's how they scoop. So there you go. That's a bit of a tutorial on how exactly I pilot the deck and also picture myself in said moments, or in general, just playing my turns optimally in order to swing the course of the game in my favor. It takes a lot of matchup knowledge and understanding what exactly your opponent needs in order to do their combos. It's one thing to learn how to understand and how to play your deck, but it's another thing entirely to know how to play your deck as well as understand how your opponent wants to play their deck as well. Once you're able to combine those two knowledges together, you will become a better player naturally. And like I said before, you can only get better with that with practice. So there you go. That is exactly how I like to play Ragnaloard. I hope this video was informative and you were able to learn something maybe, and maybe even become a better player. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, maybe even subscribe. I don't know, it's free. I heard it's a good price.